Hello everyone, in this video, I'm going to talk about virtual textures in Celestia. This is, in my opinion, one of the coolest features in Celestia, and we will certainly have more videos talking about it. We will talk about what it is and how to use it. First off, what is virtual texture? It is essentially what makes Google Map possible. For instance, when you are zooming and zoom out, notice what happens. My internet nowadays is getting so fast, so you don't really see that obviously, but you can see for a moment there are those tires that make up the entire world, and those tires is streamed in on demand. That enables us to go into extreme details, because when you are very far away you can show a low resolution texture, but when you are very close, things are just getting more and more refined and you are seeing more and more detailed textures. And that's exactly what a virtual texture is in Celestia. If we go to Celestia, you can see here I have Earth. In a nutshell, this is like a very low resolution version of it. But I also have set up a virtual texture which is accessible if you right click on it from the alternate surfaces. You can see I have set up a Earth high res. Now here, this is a demonstration of what that is. Each square, in this case, you see kind of like it's already wrapped onto the sphere, but it's actually a square image. Each square image represents a virtual texture. When you are at a far distance, you can see the lowest level. When you zoom in, you can see you get to the next level. When you zoom in even further, you can see you get to the next level. And the same thing just keep repeating until you go to very, very detailed level. In Celestia, it supports levels from level 0 to level 12, so you have a total of 13 levels. And I believe if you are at level 0, each pixel can represent as detailed as about 40 meters on a planet of Earth size. So if we go to something like Mars, here I'm going to show you how we set up this virtual texture for Mars. So right now you can see the default built-in texture for Mars, which is not very high resolution. If you right click on it and use the high resolution one, you can see immediately the impact it has, and you can zoom in and you can see all those details on Mars surface. So that is what virtual surface is, virtual texture is. Now let's take a look at how we can set up. Here I have an empty Celestia. The program inside is the built-in, all the built-in data without any customization. So this one do not have all the virtual surface stuff. And here I have the downloads. And by the way, a big thanks to Bob Hagood, who writes this fantastic documentation on virtual textures. And here we are essentially using the data he shared. Here, the most important part are those two file and folder. The SSC, the Solar System Catalog, specifies an alternative representation for the planet, and it's making use of a texture which has a new extension called CTX. You know, previously you might use JPEG or PNG, but when you are using virtual texture, you refer to the CTX one. So that is the planet that we have. And then for the textures, we are going to place all the texture inside the high-res subfolder, and then we have those two file and folder. The first one is CTX. The CTX one just specifies the virtual texture itself, provide the name of the directory, and also 3 parameters. Now 3 parameters, the base split just means if it's 0, this means at 0th level we have 2 images, one for each half of the planet. But we will talk more about the details in the future. And then tile set just means at what display size we are going to switch to the next level, and then the type of the image. Inside the folder we have all the levels we have, and each level we have the corresponding images for the levels. We will talk more about this in the future when we talk about how to author your own virtual textures. Now to use it is very simple. We're just going to place all the textures into the textures folder. Like right here, I'm just going to paste it inside, and as you can see, we already have this guy here. I just paste it here. And then for the SSC, we're just going to install it as any other add-on. So here I'm just going to Celestia, go to just place it inside the actuals. That's it. And then all the references will work because we're using the default folder path. If we now run Celestia and then just go to the Mars, let me go to maybe Mars. And then if you right click on it, you can see we have alternate services, Mars, high-res, right? So that is how you use virtual textures. Now that's pretty much it. So you can see it's very easy to use. One extra thing, just in case you're curious, regarding the folder path. If you find, let's say, the textures, high-res, those two are the ones we installed, right? You don't need to actually place it inside the texture folder. What you can do is place it into your own folder, in a sense. What you can do, let me say, my add-on, place it inside. But you cannot just place it like this. What you need to do is to create a kind of like a folder structure, replicate the folder structure. You can use high-res, mid-res, whatever you like, and then just put it inside. So you can see we kind of have like replicated the textures, high-res subfolder structure, and then for your add-on, you can call it whatever you want. And for the SSC file, you can place it wherever you want. And then if we run Celestia, the same thing will still hold. So if we now go to, let me just cancel the animation and then go to Mars, G, and traveling to Mars. Here, if we right click, you can see we still have the alternate textures. Alright, so that is how you can use virtual textures. We will definitely talk more about this topic in the future. Thank you for watching.